Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily and today I am doing my 31 horror slash mystery thriller books that are on my radar for the upcoming next year. Now, I did not complete all the books that I made on this kind of list last year, but I will try to remember to leave it linked down below. And you can watch that one if you want to because these are all going to be different books, but I am still highly anticipating those books as well. So please just go down to the link below and it'll take you straight to that one, and then you can come back and watch this one if you want, or vice versa. But we're going to get right into it. I have lots of books, so 31 books, and I'm really excited about all of them. So we're going to get into our first one. So the first one I have is Knock Knock Open Wide, and this is by Neil Sharpson. And so this one, it says it weaves together horror and Celtic myth into a terrifying, heartbreaking, supernatural tale of a fractured family and the secrets we carry and the veiled forces that guide Irish life. So all I know about this one is that at the beginning we're following one point of view and it's like a different timeline, and it is following Etain, and as she's driving home she finds a corpse along the road and she decides to take this corpse home with her, and things start happening after she does this. So in the second POV, it takes place 2 decades later, and we're following Etain's daughter, Betty, who has just arrived at college and has found a love interest, but she's trying her best to keep this love interest away from her mother and her family and like the weird stuff that goes on around them. So that one sounds really good. The cover is stunning. I love the cover and it definitely draws you in, but it is such a beautiful cover, and I've heard some good things about this one, so I really am excited to pick this one out. And I think this one just came out recently, so I haven't seen too many thoughts on it, but the things that I've heard have been really good. So next I have Ghostland by Duncan Ralston, and Katrina from Katrina Brown, she recently talked about this one, I think in her wrap-up, and she said it reminded her of 13 Ghosts, and I love that movie. It's such like an iconic movie from when I was younger, and this one takes place at, I think, some kind of theme park or something, and I don't know, things start happening and I'm assuming we're gonna get lots of ghosts, but that's all I needed to hear about this one, and I immediately added it to my wish list because I definitely want to get to this one, and it just feels like it could be like a good summer read, because when I think of theme parks I think of summer. So this one's definitely high up on my radar. I am really excited to get to it because it's said to be similar to one of my favorite movies, so I am super excited for this one. Next I have When Ghosts Call Us Home, and this is by Katia de Becerra. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but essentially this one says it's Haunting of Hill House meets found footage horror in this edge-of-your-seat thriller that explores the power of family ties and the trauma that lurks there. So this one we're following, I think, sisters. I'm not sure if we're getting both POVs or not, but essentially they had filmed this horror movie in their house, and the real reactions they were like having to things, I'm not sure if there were like actual things going on or not, but ever since then one of the sisters has been acting really strange, especially since they amassed like a big following after this. So I am really interested in this one. The cover is definitely unique, and it even says something about it's rumored that her sister made a pact with the devil, her soul in exchange for fame and arcane knowledge, and the sisters dismissed this as gossip until her sister disappeared. And like, oh, this just sounds so good, and like, oh, I want to read it. And I think this one also came out recently, so yes, really excited for this one. Next I have Let Him In by William Friend. So the only thing I really know about this one is that this is about a widowed father, and I think he has 2 twin daughters, and one night he wakes up to his twin daughters telling him that there's a shadow in their room, and when he goes to check there's no one there, but he's not really surprised since they lost the mother, and so he's just kind of chalking that up to that until weird things start happening and the girls start whispering to this shadowy figure, and it just sounds so creepy. Like anything with kids and then them whispering to something and them saying they see something, like I can't. Like, I am terrified. If my kids ever did that to me, I would be so upset because I just would be so freaked out. And so I am ready for this book. And the cover, I love the cover. It's definitely nice and spooky, perfect for spooky time, and I believe it also just came out. So next I have Head Like a Hole by Andrew Van Way. This one's kind of been going around a little bit. I've seen a couple people now read it and really love it. And the cover is just very interesting. I like the colors and how they contrast. Like, ugh, it just looks so creepy, and I just am drawn to it. And this one takes place in the mid-90s. It says grunge and flannel are fading as the Spice Girls and Hot Topic conquer the malls. Cherry gloss glistens on the lips of youth. Modems hiss as America comes online. And this takes place somewhere in New England, and it says something terrible awakens when fisherman reels in a gruesome catch. The remains of a young woman remains still pulsing with furious life. Ooh, creepy. Sounds like some body horror and a mystery. And and even it says like a wet whisper over their shoulder, a dark hand reaching out from the edge of their sight, and a name clawing at the back of their minds. Like, ooh, okay, yep. Gives me the chills already. Definitely going to be checking this one out. Okay, so the next one I have is Mr. Lullaby by J.H. Markert, and I recently just read The Nightmare Man and absolutely loved it. Loved the writing, loved the story. It was so unique. But anyway, this one's not out yet, but I think, it says on Goodreads that it's coming out in January. I thought it was supposed to come out sooner, so I don't know. Amazon says one thing, Goodreads is saying another. Anyway, but it's not out yet, but it's coming out. But this one takes place around this old train tunnel that it was built around, and one kid goes in there and they get injured and end up in a coma, and mysterious things start happening around this tunnel. And I think we're following a sheriff, and they're not buying into the superstitious stuff that's happening until they start finding corpses in front of the tunnel. And not only are they starting to believe it, but now they're tasked with trying to figure out what's going on. So I'm assuming that this one's gonna follow multiple people, because that's what the last book did, and it was really nicely woven together and how they ended up interacting in the end and like coming together. So I'm really excited for this one. The cover is creepy, like tunnels, caves, those kind of things. Count me out. Not my thing. You won't catch me doing that. So this one is very high up on my TBR, especially after The Nightmare Man. Next, I have The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This one is a popular book. I meant to say this at the beginning, but last year the books I picked were more so older books and books that I hadn't heard a whole lot about, and this year these ones are going to be like more newer books. There are a couple sprinkled in that are older, but for the most part they're mostly newer books. So back to The Stranger Upstairs. I know we're following a social media influencer who moves into this notorious murder house, and they want to fix it up and gain more following, I think, in doing so. But strange things start happening, and the builders start acting weird. And it says, Sarah knows there's only so long she can continue to sleep in the bedroom with the blood-stained floor and suffer the mysterious footsteps she hears from the attic. So creepy. The cover is just so bright and inviting and drawing you in. And like, there's a person in the window upstairs. So like, is that her, or is that the upstairs person that's walking around? Like, what's going on? What happened in this house? I need to know. Next, I have The September House by Carissa Orlando. Again, another cover that I actually really like. The house surrounded by, it almost looks like, I'm trying to look at my computer, but it's like old wallpaper or something. And I think there might be like blood on the back of it. I don't know, but it looks really neat. So this says, a woman is determined to stay in her dream home even after it becomes a haunted nightmare in this compulsively readable, twisty, and layered debut novel. So all I know about this one, because a lot of people have been talking about it and enjoying it, is that this couple moves into this house and something happens to the husband, and the daughter's kind of questioning the mother, but the mother, it's like the mother knows something that's going on. And then there's like these ghosts that come into this house or like show up, especially during September, because it says, every September the walls drip blood, the ghosts of former inhabitants appear, and all of them are terrified of something that lurks in the basement. Most people would flee. Margaret is not most people, and that's the wife. And I don't know, the cover is really pulling me in on this one, and the fact that like every September something happens and there's ghosts that are afraid of something in the basement. Yeah, creepy basement, great. Next, I have Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter, and this one, it says, a shocking thriller about a cold case, a fictional true crime series, and the family caught in the middle. It says 6 episodes, 1 killer. So something happened a while ago in December of 2003, and it says the stepfather and of acclaimed filmmaker was found dead in the garden of their suburban family home, and it's never been solved. And the mother and the two half-sisters were in the house at the time of the murder, but they all swear they saw nothing. And because it's such a high-profile case, like, it was investigated endlessly, but still no one has figured out what happened. And so I think now there's like this Netflix series going on, and they're hoping that in doing this Netflix series that they're going to be able to finally solve the case. So it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's filled with dirty family secrets, and I am just really interested to know like what happened and who did what. Next, I have Come Closer by Sarah Gran, and I specifically put this one on here because I know it's short, but also because it's like a possession book, and that's all I know about it. And that's all I want to know about it. Like, I don't want to read anything onto it, but just know that like this one is very high. I have it on Audible. I got it for free, so I want to listen to it. And I think it's only like a 3-hour audiobook, so at like 2 or 2.5 speed, it should take me like an hour or something. And I probably get to that one sooner rather than later out of all of these. So I'm really excited to get to this one, and I just love a good possession story, and I'm hoping this one gives it to me. The next one I have is The Haar by David Sodergren, and I specifically put this one on here because I don't know if it was 72 Hours in the Haunted House when that was going on, but Michelle from Michelle's Books or Michelle's Library, I can't remember, I think it's Michelle's Library, she talked about this book, and it just sounded so good. Like the way she was explaining it and everything, it just sounded so good, so that's why this one's on here. And it just says an overseas property developer threatens to evict residents from their homes and raze Witch Haven, which is a fishing village, a Scottish fishing village, to the ground in the name of progress. All seems lost until the day a mysterious fog bank creeps in. The Haar, to some it brings redemption, to others it brings only madness and death. What macabre secrets lie within? So, I mean, definitely sounds creepy, and the cover is definitely got the creepy vibes. Next, I have Beneath the Stairs by Jennifer Fawcett, and this one says, a woman returns to her hometown after her childhood friend attempts suicide at a local haunted house, the same place where a traumatic incident shattered their lives 20 years ago. So the cover definitely drawing me in. Creepy staircase, definitely just very creepy, and the fact that something happened to them 20 years ago, like what happened and why did this friend just try and unalive herself, and how is this going to come into play with the friend now coming back in to this town, like what's going to happen. Also, like, I just want to know what happened 20 years ago. Like, this just sounds really good, and the vibe that the cover is giving me gives me some like spooky, like I want to read this at night kind of feeling. Okay, so the next book I have is called Such a Pretty Smile by Christy DeMeester, and I believe this one is following some kind of serial killer, but it says there's something out there that's killing, known only as the Cur. He leaves no traces save for the torn bodies of girls on the verge of becoming women, who are known as troublemakers, those who refuse to conform, to know their place, girls who don't know when to shut up. So it also shows that we're following a POV from 2019 and one from 2004, and it just kind of goes from there. But it doesn't have the best ratings on Goodreads, like it's a 3.38, but I am still super interested to know what's going on in this book, and I have a feeling it'll probably let me down, but at the same time, like, I just want to know the cover. I know they changed the cover, but this is the original one that I had seen, and it just very creepy, and like such a pretty smile, and like the concept of this just sounds really interesting, so this is definitely on my TBR. Next, I have Goddess of Filth by V. Castro, and all I know about this one is that it definitely takes place in the summer, and it's following a group of friends, and they have a seance, and then something happens to one of these friends, and they become possessed, and I think now that they have to try and figure out how to unpossess their friend, and weird things start happening, and like I said, I just love a good possession story, so I'm hoping that some of these books that deal with that are going to give me 5-star feels, and this is definitely one of them. And the cover, again, the cover with its bright pinky red colors, great, drawing me in. So next I have The Stowaway by James S. Murray and Darren Wearmouth, and I picked up this one specifically because I have been looking for a bunch of like cruise ship boat horror slash mystery thriller books, and this was one of them. But I recently saw Lexi from Books with Lexi read this, and she absolutely loved it. And it says 2 years ago, Maria Fontana was the deciding vote on a jury that set alleged serial killer Wyatt Butler free. Now she and her family are enjoying a vacation on a 2-week-long transatlantic cruise, but when passengers are discovered brutally murdered in a similar way to Butler's ritualistic MO, the ship goes on lockdown. Maria, one of only 12 people in the world with intimate knowledge of the case, faces a perilous ticking clock. Is it a copycat, or is she trapped on board with the bloodthirsty maniac she chose to set free? Sounds so good. Like, could you imagine being on a ship in the middle of the ocean and there's a murderer going around killing people, and you think you are part of the reason why this person is free? Absolutely sign me up. I am definitely excited for this one. Next, I have Under the Blade by Matt Serafini, and I've talked about this one before on videos on my channel. I wanted to get to it in summer because it takes place around some kind of summer camp, but essentially 25 years ago, this person went on a killing spree at this summer camp, and there was, I believe, one person who survived, and today that person has decided to return there and tell her story about what happened, and not all goes to plan, and weird things start happening again. And I like the creepy camp vibe, the summer vibe. Perfect for summer. It sounds great for summer, and I just didn't get to it, but I hope that next year I will, so fingers crossed on that. But this one I am definitely excited to read. Next, I have one that's been making its rounds, and that is Mayfly by CJ Lead. And this one says, by day, Mayfly works at the happiest place in the world as every child's favorite ice princess. By the neon night glow of the Sunset Strip, Maeve haunts the dive bars with a drink in her hand and a book in the other, imitating her misanthropic literary heroes. Essentially, we've got this Disney princess who is Elsa, and she is going to these dive bars and picking up men and then essentially killing them. And that just sounds great. Like, we love women's wrongs and we support them on this channel. So I've read some other books like this before. They Never Learn. It kind of sounds similar to that. But I really enjoyed that book, so I'm hoping I really enjoy this book. And can we just talk about this beautiful cover? Stunning, shocking, like, just absolutely beautiful. And I kind of just want it to like sit on my shelves and just have a front row view. Perfect. Next, I have Dead 11 by Jimmy Giuliano. This one says, on a creepy island where everyone has a strange obsession with the year 1994, a newcomer arrives, hoping to learn the truth about her son's death, but finds herself pulled deeper and deeper into the bizarrely insular community and their complicated rules. I love the cover. The cover is definitely why I really want to pick this one up, but I've heard really good things about it. And I have like this strange curiosity with like, why is everyone so obsessed with the year 1994? And I've heard like some things here and there about what's going on in this book, and it just has me really intrigued to want to know what this book is about. Next, I have The Circus of Hungry Clowns by Cesar Ruel, and this one I heard was said to be kind of like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, sort of, and that was all I needed. It's a little novella. I think it's only like 88 pages or something, so I don't want to know any more than that, but I'm really excited. Like, I need a book that is similar to Killer Clowns from Outer Space because I love that movie. I only recently found out about it this year, and I watched it over and over and over because it just was so good. It was so cheesy and good, and it was just perfect, and to have a book that could give me similar vibes to that, I need it now. Next, I have Last Days by Adam Neville, and this one is kind of like culty, sort of. We have this, I want to say like journalists or whatever, but they're trying to find out about what happened with this cult, and I think there are people that were part of this cult, and they're coming forward to talk, but strange things start happening to these people, and things are showing up in rooms, and it just sounds so creepy, and it leads to, I think it like ends at the place where like this horrible thing happened, and it just sounds so good, and I really need to read another cult book. Next, I have Run on Red with Noelle W. Healy. I could be saying that wrong, I'm so sorry. But essentially this one says, a rural country road, no cell signal for miles, a terrifying game of cat and mouse. So all I know is that I think there's two friends or two people in a car, and they notice these headlights tailing them, and before they know it, it's too late, and a case of road rage quickly turns into a heart-pounding chase and a battle for survival. And I've heard of like ghost stories of like these roads where these headlights will come behind you and try and run you off the road, and it just sounds so creepy, and that's what this reminds me of. So I really want to see if it gives me those vibes, and definitely sounds terrifying because something like this could and has actually happened. Next, I have Deadland by Sawyer Hall. Essentially what this one is, it's like if Jurassic Park had zombies instead of dinosaurs. So you've got this amusement park kind of with these zombies. I'm assuming they're like behind fences and stuff, but something happens to someone and they start to get really sick and they start to have like zombie-like qualities, and they're starting to wonder, is there an outbreak going on? And it just sounds so good, and it sounds like something so scary, and it kind of feels like something someone would do somewhere, and that this could be an actual thing, and the stupidity of it is just like way out there, but it just sounds so good. And it was another book I wanted to read this summer, but I didn't get to. But again, we got another amusement park. Ooh, maybe I could do a like amusement park kind of thing, horror videos or something. I don't know, we'll have to see, but this one's definitely high up on my list. My butt's going numb from sitting on this floor for so long that these last ones might be sped up. So next I have The Cotton Candy Massacre by Christopher Robertson. It says the book you're about to read is an account of the tragedy that occurred at the reopening of Bonkin's Bonanza one day in summer of 1989. Some came looking for fun like Candy Barton and her best friend Lee. Others, like Rocky Rhodes and Sully Sullivan, came looking for a second chance. Instead, they would find a twisted, funfetti nightmare. And this one, like, it's got like the clown aspect. I think there's something maybe with like the cotton candy, and like definitely like slasher vibes with this. But like, I love the cover. It just feels like old school, but like creepy and like old circusy kind of thing. So definitely excited for this one. I feel like I need to do like a clown horror reading vlog, so maybe that will happen too. I don't know, I'm feeling ambitious today, but ooh, so many videos I can make with these, so maybe keep your eye out. I don't know. Next I have The Haunting of Maddie Clare, and this is by Simone St. James. I recently read The Broken Girls by Simone St. James and his new favorite, so I'm hoping some of her older books will also be new favorites. And I think this is an older book. Yeah, this one came out I think in 2012, but they've been redoing the covers, and the covers are definitely drawing me in. And this one just says, a woman of limited means and even less experience must confront a vengeful spirit. And that was all I really know about this book. But again, Simone St. James, I want to read more from her, so this one's on here. I love the cover. The orange like just works so well on this cover, and yeah, so I just really wanted to try another Simone St. James, and this was the one I ended up picking. Next, I have The Nightmare Room by Chris Sorensen. This one was a contender for last year's list, but it didn't make it. But I decided to put it on this one because I'm still really interested. It says a boy in a basement, a man in a booth, and a darkness that threatens to swallow them both. So it's talking about this guy and his wife, and they move back to where his father is, because his father is sick and his father owns this property and no one knew about it, and so they decide to move into it. But when they do, things start happening. He has a recording studio because he does audiobooks, and it says that he sets up his recording studio in a small basement room. Disturbing things begin to occur. Mysterious voices haunt audio tracks. Malevolent shadows creep about the house, and when an insidious presence emerges from the woodwork, Peter must face old demons in order to save his family and himself. So it sounds really good. Something about like haunted houses is just so interesting to me, and like I could never live in a haunted house, but I love reading about them or even watching movies about them. Next I have All Hallows Eve by Michael Penning. I recently put this one on my wish list, but it made it onto this list because it sounds really interesting. It said she didn't believe in ghosts until her daughter was taken by one. So this woman, husband disappears while investigating a series of strange and terrible incidents in the bustling seaport of Salem. She is forced to bring her young daughter, Abigail, along from Boston while she takes up the search, but she soon learns a terrible curse that has the entire town bracing for nightfall. 100 years after the infamous witch trials, the vengeful spirit of a woman hanged for witchcraft will rise from hell to claim the souls of Salem's children. But as one does, Alice, the mother, dismisses this and ends up having her daughter taken, and now she has to work with someone else to get her daughter back, and this person also wants their daughter back also. I think that the superstition and Salem and All Hallows Eve and missing children and also a missing husband. Like, this just sounds really good, and it sounds like it could come with like a unique story and like trying to figure out what's happening. And I feel like it also has like a unique take on the Salem witch trials maybe, so I am very intrigued. Next, I have Where He Can't Find You by Darcy Coates. This one comes out November 7th of this year, so I have a hot minute to wait for this book, but it sounds really interesting, and I wanted to put something on here by Darcy Coates. I haven't read that much from her, but I definitely would like to read everything she's written because I just hear so many good things about her books and her writing. And I've read short stories, and I read The Whispering Dead. I'm going to be reading The Carrow Haunt soon, so I want to read more from this author. So this one says, don't walk alone or the Stitcher will find you. Don't stay out late or the Stitcher will take you. Don't close your eyes or the Stitcher will remake you. And essentially we're following Abby, who lives in a town haunted by disappearances. People vanish, and when they're found, their bodies have been dismembered and sewn back together in unnatural ways. But is it the work of human killer or something far darker? That sounds so freaking good. And it sounds so creepy. And I really just want to like sit down at night and read this in one sitting. That's the vibes that I'm getting from this. And it just sounds so creepy. And the cover's a little creepy. And I am expecting great things from this. This one is very highly, like, I'm very hyped for this one so much. So I hope it does not let me down. Next, I have Girl 11 by Amy Suter Clark. This one's following a woman who was once a social worker, but now she hosts a popular true crime podcast that focuses on cold cases of missing and abducted children. So essentially, this woman has successfully done 4 seasons of solving cases in Minnesota's Twin Cities, and then she decides to tackle the Countdown Killer, who 20 years ago was terrorizing a community, kidnapping and ritualistically murdering 3 girls over 7 days, each a year younger than the last. Then after he took his 11-year-old victim, the pattern and the murders abruptly stopped. No one has ever known why. So this just sounds really good. Sounds very, very, very good. And it also sounds really sad when it involves kids. But I am very intrigued, and I haven't heard anyone talk about this, so I definitely want to give it a try. Next, I have The Switch House by Tim Mayer. This one's also kind of shown up in a few videos, I believe, but it sounds really good, even though it has a 3.59 rating on Goodreads. I am so interested. Essentially, a couple has won a role on Let's Switch Houses. It says, your life is going to change. We promise your dreams will come true. Everything you've ever wanted, we have it. This is a chance of a lifetime. Come inside, switch with us. And the first paragraph says, Angela and Terry return home after several grueling months of filming the popular television show Let's Switch Houses, only to find their residence in ruin. Sure, the decor and framed photographs are the same. The color of the walls hasn't changed. The furniture sits unmoved, but something is off. Their quiet New Jersey home feels tainted. Angela can sense it, crawling inside her, infecting her mind, poisoning her thoughts. Then the nightmares begin. Sounds really good. And like, ooh, like, could you imagine like just going on a show and switching houses with someone, and then like someone comes in here and does some like spooky ass shit? Like, no thank you. Absolutely not. Count me out. Like, I don't care how like exciting it sounds. No way. Next, I have Tastes Like Candy by Ivy Tholen. This one I've heard lots of good things about. The cover, definitely, I love the cover. It's just so stunning and beautiful, and I just love it. So essentially, I think there's like a senior scavenger hunt, and these girls break into the Poison Apple Carnival after hours for a scavenger hunt, and then at sunrise they'll gather for a celebration in honor of their upcoming senior year. But someone else has another game planned. Minutes after the girls sneak into the carnival, a madman in a rubber mask begins slashing his way through the group, and they realize his motives are personal. So, a great slasher. I love me a good slasher. I haven't read too many horror books this year, and I'm kind of sad about it because I have so many that I want to read, but this one just sounds so good. And again, like, there's a carnival, so like, and the cover, God, the cover is great. And finally, the 31st and last book is A History of Fear by Luke Dumas. This one, I'm only going to read you this little bit of a blurb because that's all I know about it. That's all I want to know about it, and that's what made me want to pick this up. And this is what it says. Grayson Hale, the most infamous murderer in Scotland, is better known by a different name, the Devil's Advocate. The 25-year-old American grad student rose to instant notoriety when he confessed to the slaughter of his classmate, Liam Stewart, claiming the devil made him do it. Sounds so good. Like, ooh, I just love that concept, and like, it just sounds so good. And the fact that it's happening overseas and it's not in America, but you've got this American grad student who murdered someone, but they're claiming the devil made them do it. Like, sounds so good. And I'm really excited for it. And I know it doesn't have the highest of rating, but like, it just gives me such like dark academia, like gothic vibe feeling, mystery, spookiness, like, just sounds so good. And the cover makes me want to read it on like a rainy, stormy day or like at night. Like, it just sounds so good. So that was everything. Those are all 31 books that are on my radar that are horror / mystery thriller. Again, I want to remind you that I'm going to leave last year's video link below because there are definitely tons of books you could still get from that video. Also, even I can still get videos from that because I have not read nearly enough of them. So I'm really excited for all these books. I hope they're all just as creepy and spooky as the vibes that they're giving off in their synopses and the covers. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it down below if you did. Comment letting me know what other horror mystery thriller books you think I should keep on my radar. And subscribe if you want to. I'd greatly appreciate it. And until my next video, I will see you guys again soon. Bye!